Welcome to the home of the DIY movement, where we build stuff and paint things.
All right, y'all, welcome back. It is Way Back Wednesday, man. And the last video I did got a lot of good feedback, a lot of good comments asking for more. So here we are. So what we have here is a car that was gifted to me when I graduated high school. So this picture was in '99. You can see the inspection sticker on the windshield. And man, when I graduated high school, my dad asked me, what I wanted as a graduation gift or whatever. And I had my heart set on my friend's dad's 63 convertible. And I think he wanted like 7,000 or somewhere around there, 7,500. And man, I really wanted that car, right? But it wasn't in the budget, wasn't in the cards. So my dad picked up this 1980 Monte Carlo from his coworker at the time. He actually picked this car up for $200. I remember we went to his coworker's house. He had it in the garage there. We bought it for $200, and I drove it home. Man, that thing smoked. It had a V8 in it. It had a 267 V8, so it was like a really small V8, and it had a huge rust spot on top of the roof on the driver's side that you really can't see in this picture, right? So man, I was just stoked because this was like my first, I guess you can call it a real lowrider. It wasn't my first car, but it was the first car that had a frame. The first car was a Honda Civic. I did make a lowrider, but this one had a frame, so I was really excited to have something with some hydraulics, man. So it was going to be a little father-son project. It was going to get it running good and clean it up a little bit and get the AC working. That was his main thing, is he really wanted to get the AC working, but I had different plans. So I was out of high school. I was just working some whatever job would hire me, and one day he came home and the car was not in the garage. He's like, well, where's the car? I said, oh, I took it to the shop. Took it to a shop up the street, and he said, oh, you gonna get the AC fixed? I said, no, I don't think we're gonna need air conditioning. He was like, well, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm having a roof cut off. And he didn't understand the concept, but I was able to snap this picture while the guy was cutting the roof off of the car at the body shop. It was a shop in Stafford, Texas, and his name Chartmath. And they did custom work. They did some candy paints and stuff. And so I took this car over there for him to cut the roof off. And the guy, he really tried to talk me out of doing it. But I couldn't be talked out of doing it. So they actually reinforced it. They put some reinforcement inside the door jamb, and they actually tied the body into the frame. They ran some reinforcement along the inside of the rocker on the inside of the car and tied it into the frame just to reinforce it the best they can. One distinct thing I remember is when the car was, I guess, what you call done, or not done, but needed a paint job, ready for paint. I took it to him, and I wanted it candy cobalt blue, or oriental blue actually. And the guy asked me, he said, do I want show or do I want show? And I didn't know the difference, and I was like, well, what do you mean, and like, what's the difference? And he's like, about $1,500. And I said, I'm good with show. And so he gave me a quote. I ended up not getting it painted there, but I do remember distinctively him asking me that. And now that I do my own paint and bodywork stuff, I do understand the difference between show and show. So now I do understand exactly what he meant. So man, they cut the roof off. As you can see, they just busted the back window out, cut the roof off, and then they capped it off for me. Across the front windshield, I remember they welded in just a piece of pipe in between the two layers of sheet metal, and then body worked it, and then they capped off where the quarter window goes. And he did a good job, man, and I was super excited. Like, I remember when I drove it home, man, as soon as I hit the highway, like, there was so much body filler dust kicking up from the carpet and from under the dash. It was like a sandstorm in the car. I remember that, man. I couldn't even see. It was clogging up my eyes, so I had to pull over for a minute, so just so I can, be ready to drive the thing home. But I did drive it home, man, and I had a chop top, inspired by Altered Image, and another one in Lowrider magazine was Sideshow Monte Carlo. I forgot, somewhere in California that car was out of, but it was kind of like a bluish purple color. It was in Lowrider magazine. So anyways, man, I was 19 years old and I was ready. First thing I did was I ordered these Roadstars. It's kind of what started the whole Roadstar craze for me. I ordered them locally in Houston, and they had to get them shipped in, but they were all chrome, Series 3 72 spoke, which looking back then, I didn't know what Series 3 meant or anything like that. These were the first set of wheels I had for the car, and I wanted it to be different. Everybody kind of had either bolt-ons or Daytons, and I wanted these Roadster knockoffs. And at the time in Houston, there really wasn't a lot of people rolling on the Roadster knockoffs, man. So I got these wheels and I slapped them on. So here they are on the car. I believe at this point the car was lifted. You can tell by the front tire there, and you can see how they capped off the where the quarter window was. And I remember, getting washed up, and we used to go cruise Richmond, man. If you guys are from the Houston area and you were on Richmond in the late 2000s, or I'm sorry, late 90s, early 2000s, man, you saw this car. So, man, I rode it like that, man, primer down. It had a Reds 2-pump setup. I went to Shorty's Hydraulics, and he did a 2-pump install with some frame reinforcements. And man, we were rolling. And I remember it had the little Reds dumps, the little 1/4-inch weenie dumps with the built-in slowdowns. And man, I was going through them dump cartridges all the time, man. Like, used to really clown that car. Here's the car after I got it painted, and like I say, I went back to chart math, and the whole show versus show thing. I think he was talking about $3,500 or $5,000 for a candy, and that was way out of budget, man. So went to this other dude kind of close to the house. All I remember about him was his name was Randy, and Randy painted this car for $700, paint included. And I remember Randy sprayed it in a warehouse, and he painted it in like 2 days. Randy didn't wear a respirator. So I wonder if Randy's still around. At the time, I was 19. Randy was probably close to 40. So I don't know, maybe he's still around. But I remember he painted this car with no respirator, and I wanted something a little different than just regular old blue. So he threw Silver Flake. He threw it actually in the clear. So when the job was done, like, you can see, I mean, the flakes were there, but the texture of the flake was also there. But he did put one coat on top, with no flakes, so it helped a little bit. But it was a $700 paint job, man. But at night, under the street lights, man, them silver flakes would dance. Here's another shot. You can see the flakes on the trunk. It had a heavy flake, man. So these pictures are actually scanned, real pictures, and some are Polaroids that I scanned. So quality sucks. I'm not a professional photographer, so they're all off center. But here's a picture of the front shot coming up. And Randy missed a spot right there on the passenger side headlight on that corner. You can see his little light. Randy missed a spot, but yeah, I didn't care, man. I was rolling. Actually, I got those bumper guard strips, front and rear bumper strips right there. NOS at the dealer at the time, and I went and picked them up. And I mean, now they reproduce them, but back then, a lot of the cars, a lot of the Monte Carlos, they were missing those bumper trims. So man, I was kind of trying to stand out from the rest with I had all the bumper trims and stuff, and man, that thing had a 267, but it didn't have any kind of power, man. Especially I had 6 batteries in the trunk, and that thing barely made it up the road, but it did make it, and it was a real fun car. Yeah, so fast forward a few months of cruising, and I had to be different. I had to upgrade, man. So I went back to Shorty's, and I told him I wanted a chain bridge with standing 3-wheel. And I remember he really tried to talk me out of it because it was gonna tear up the car, because the car didn't have a roof. It's gonna flex and fold, and I didn't care. I wanted it. So right here, the 3-wheel wasn't to its full potential. I remember the dump leaked, so it would drop down, but I was able to snap a shot back then. And man, having that chain bridge and that 3-wheel really changed the whole vehicle, man. And I definitely tore it up, but it was a lot of fun. We do standing 3-wheel on both left and right side. I remember one night me and my friends piled in there and we were gonna go cruising, and we were at the spot, and it was the first night with the chain bridge, and I didn't know. I mean, I was still trying to figure it out. I didn't know that the front had to be locked up for it to stand 3. And we're riding next to this other car. It was a dude and had like 2 girls with him. And the dude 3-wheeled on me, like right next to me, like right in my face. So I was like really excited. I'm like, oh, I got something for you. And man, I was trying to 3-wheel it and it wouldn't do it because the front wasn't locked up. And I remember we got to the red light, and the girl in the passenger, man, she was talking a lot of trash, man. She was like, yeah, you know, get it up and this and that. And I was like, man. So I finally figured out you had to lock the front up, and I 3-wheeled the driver's side, and then I turned right at the red light. So I 3-wheeled the opposite side, and man, that shut her up, man. And I remember we were all laughing, and that's something I really remember, man, is 3-wheeling and turning the opposite way. Here's another shot with you can't really see it, but it had the rear end reinforced and had chain bridge. It was part of a local club back then out of Stafford. And so man, I got tired of the Roadstars because I wanted something with gold, right? So I went into Lowrider magazine, Robert's Tire and Wheel. I don't know if they're still in business, but so I ordered a set of triple gold. I wanted triple gold Roadstars. So basically the same wheels I had, but I wanted them triple gold. I mean, you know, back then mail order was one of the only ways you get stuff, out where we lived. And so there was like no, there was no PayPal, there was no place to leave a bad review or anything like that, man. So when I paid them, and then, like a month later I got the wheels and I opened the boxes and they were not Roadstars. So I was like, man, what the hell is this? So I called them and they were like, oh, those are the new style Roadsters. I said, what? No. He was like, yeah, those are the new style. They call them Roadster D's. And I was like, Roadster D's? I never heard of that. He was like, yeah, it's the new stuff. They're like a direct knockoff. I said, man, this is not what I wanted, man. Like, I wanted the 3-prong. I actually wanted a 2-prong fluted gold Roadstars. And he was like, well, this is, it's the new stuff. And I'm like, well, they look like fake Daytons to me. And so he was like, man, we could take them back, but you got to ship them back, and then there's a restocking fee. Well, by the time you ship them back and pay the restocking fee, you're out half of your money. So, I was kind of in a jam, so I just kept them. And I mean, the plating quality was real nice, I mean, you can see right there, the gold was nice and gold, but that's not what I paid for, man. So that was my experience with buying a mail order from Robert Tire and Wheel. And I mean, they did offer me the opportunity to return them, but pay shipping plus restocking. I forgot how much it was, but it totally wasn't worth it, man. So, I rolled them like that, man. Fat white walls like you see right there. You can see the little front headlight. Randy missed a spot. And switch box there. I made it detachable so nobody could steal the car whenever I park it on Pancake, and unplug the switch box. So man, the car was a lot of fun. Here's a old Polaroid I had, showing the back bumper trim with my plaque. I had a wood grain steering wheel. This was probably in 99, maybe 2000. Had my buddy's Cutlass right there in the yard. Had my dad's OBS. That was an 88 short bed, which now they call them old body styles, which that's a whole nother topic. But man, this was kind of I wouldn't say this wasn't my first car, but this was my first car with hydraulics. And man, I tore it up. I think this next picture here was the same day. We parked him in the driveway. That was his flaked out Cutlass. Man, that thing had a lot of flake. The whole car was flake. White quarter top. It wasn't lifted. It had 13s though, and we used to cruise back to back. And man, that's a really old picture right there. So anyways, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I think I got one more picture for y'all. This picture right here, I don't know if it was in 99 or 2000, but that was my buddy's truck. I remember he bought it new, I believe, and it was a 99 model, so it might have been early 2000. And I don't even remember who took this picture, but it was me pulling into my driveway at my dad's house. Got that old Honda Prelude back there in a little shotgun house. But man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I can continue it. What I end up doing was I end up trading this car straight across for a 64 Impala. So if you guys want to see pictures of that abomination, we can do another throwback, another way back Wednesday. Let me know, man. Y'all stay tuned for more work. Thanks for watching.